Alright, as you saw, I picked some peppers from the pepper raised bed. And there's all sorts of peppers in here, from cayenne to shishito to the Hungarian wax. And they need hot sun, and that's coming now. Here we're getting towards the middle of May. So after that big rain, there's not going to be much rain left. So they're going to start to grow, and they're going to love that hot sun. My goji berries there, looking a little bad, and they started to look bad a couple weeks ago. Some of the canes, they're starting to get like I think a fungus on it. Maybe it's too wet for these guys. So I think I really have to cut them back and let some new growth come down. Hopefully the plant's not dead, because I like goji berries. They're fun. They're good. Now, of course, the garden's a mess here, and maybe yours is too when you're in the middle of things. The cardoon, which is taller than me, is starting to make its flowers, and that's really nice to see. The bees love that purple flower, you know. You can see that they're just going to come to it, and that's going to be good. I need pollinators. I want them to pollinate everything, and then, you know, take care of the pests as well. It's nice greenery. Here's I believe it's probably a cantaloupe. Rogue came right up out of the ground, so I'm going to let him go see what he does. I did buy some cantaloupe. My Egyptian walking onions, they're growing tops. They're probably going to be starting to fall over and hopefully propagate, but they're a nice onion. Here is now my new concept, which is nothing but frames for things that climb. And you can see putting them all in kind of rows, kind of like an industrial farmer-based production, rather than have all my raised beds have a big wall that I can't stick my hand around to get around them. Just make them this way, and it's great. I have some containers, so I'm doing some container garden. These are the tomatoes, and I got some dirt in there, and then at the bottom perlite, which kind of does like a wicking system. It'll capture some water and nutrients down there. Here are some artichokes that they're smaller, but they are making little artichokes, so that's nice. Love the artichoke. Ladybug. You can see the zucchini. I've already picked 2 zucchini off of these. They're doing great. There'll be more zucchini to pick. My fruit trees, these are nectarines and plums and citrus that, you know, because it gets cold in the winter, I got to drag those citrus in the garage, and I hate to do that. I think it stunts the growth. If I could keep them warm in the winter when we have that extra cold day, I have to figure something out because I don't want to move them every year. More container tomatoes and the beans. I was worried now these are right into the wood chips, so this is using, you know, the back to Eden style of gardening, right? So I put some beans in there. They're climbing beans, and so they all started to sprout, as well as these beans here. These are some bigger red beans, the scarlet runners. So they came up, so not too bad. They all came up. Here are some cucumbers that, see, this is a much better way, because if you're growing things on a frame, right, you got one big row here, and you can get on this side or that side, and you're not interrupting your raised bed. So this makes for, I think, a better way, you know. And these things are fun to make and cheap too. A little electrical conduit, a little garden fencing, some zip ties that are UV resistant. Don't get the white ones. They crack and they'll be one season and done. These things are UV. But it's a great idea. And as you can see, I got cucumbers from the Home Depot Lowe's. And then I put some seeds just to get some different variety, because, you know, they never have the varieties at the store. And I probably put too many seeds down, and I don't know, I must have dropped some because now they're coming out right in the middle. I have to pick them, but I'll let them kind of start to grow, and then I'll thin them out because that'll be too many to compete for this small of a space. But we love cucumbers, and I want to grow all sorts of varieties, the large, the long, the pickling. Now back here, a spider web's starting to make a web, so let me get him out of the way because I don't want to run into it. This is interesting. These are my ghost peppers, and they grow great in containers, and these are from last year even. I overwintered them in the garage and watered them every once in a while, and now brought them out, and here they come. But I love this. This is, if you notice, this is a different plant than the one next to it. This is the cherry, the little yellow husk cherry, and it's growing right there in the bucket next to the ghost pepper. So I'm going to let that go and see who gets bigger, and it looks like they're both doing well as long as I water it. I got the irrigation there, so that should give it the nutrients. tomatoes that I put right in the wood chips. So practicing again the back to Eden, sticking it right in the ground. The whole garden, the whole backyard is wood chips, and this stuff is decomposing and creating new soil and creating a lot of life. So it's fun. It's doing really well. So there's tomatoes here, peppers, eggplant. So every year I always have problem with eggplant. Why do I have problem with eggplant? Because when you look on the underneath, the little aphids or whatever, and flea beetles, whatever they call them, just eat the hell out of them, and I never get a good harvest. Now you can see they're little here. It's a little plant, but they're growing little tiny ones, and so that's great. But I came out and I gave it some neem oil and that to kill them before they kill my plant. It really just kills me that I can't get good eggplant every year. More tomatoes in containers, so they're doing fine. And so if you look at the back here, I've got some more artichoke. I love them. I had all the plants, so I threw them in there. But I just love this idea of kind of trellising, using these posts, and just making these rows of whatever I want to grow. And then when they die, I can harvest and put something else there. But what a great idea. So I had all these next to the raised beds. Now I've moved them off. All right, so that's this side. Let me show you other parts of the garden here in a second.